Hey everyone, my name is Luwanza and I would like to start my own YouTube channel. The title of my YouTube channel, Luwanza Life Story. Uh, the reason why I choose that title because I want everyone to know things about me, um, how my life started growing up as a kid. Um, and how I am living this life experience. Um, it's basically about how I grew up in California, how my childhood was and stuff like that. And my childhood wasn't really good. It was bad. My childhood was very destroyed and hectic, and I had a real tough childhood. Like, you could imagine going through stuff like that. Um, my childhood was the worstest childhood that I could ever experience. Um, my mother and I don't get along very well. Um, she basically abandoned me. She didn't care about me. She gave me up when I was born. Like, she didn't care. Uh, Me and my two sisters, we been abandoned by our mother, um, which my mother didn't care about neither one of us. She only cared about herself. Um, Basically, me and my sister, we end up in foster home because of my mother, because she did not take care of me and my sister. Um, my mother was doing things to herself. She didn't care. She was doing a lot of things. Everybody that knows my mother will specifically tell you everything about my mother, how she put everybody through, how she put me through, how she put me and my sister through. It was a very hectic childhood for me and my sister. Um, my grandma ended up taking me and my sister in. My grandma took care of me and my sister. My grandma raised me and my sister very well, and my grandma taught me and my sister everything. The one thing I like about my grandma is because she's a very smart, strong woman, and she taught me everything by the book, like everything. My grandma showed me a picture of her and her mother, and my grandma told me that her mother taught her everything. And that's the reason why my mother taught me everything. That's the reason why my grandma taught me everything. And and that's what I appreciate my grandma for raising me and giving me the knowledge that I deserve, and I appreciate everything that my grandma did for me. And I thank my grandma for teaching me different things in life, and I appreciate her uh, gave me the greatest life ever, and I appreciate that from her. And I appreciate my grandma giving me the most learning experience about life. She basically taught me about, relationships, friendships. She basically taught me all that. And that's the reason why I know about relationship and friendship, is because I've been through that all my life. Um, every relationship that I've been through was very hectic for me. It was sad. It was just rough for me, really rough. And it was basically rough for me as a child growing up. I grew up in California, all my life, and that's where I was born and raised in California. My grandma is from Louisiana, and my dad's side of the family is from Texas. And I'm basically the one that's from California. Um, Experiencing life is kind of hard. When you become an adult, it's really hard. It's really hard. Um, when I was 2 years old, my mom's sister took care of me. And after that, I ended up going back, staying with my mother. Then I was like basically removed from my mother again at the age of 12. I was staying with my best friend that I've been knowing all my life. Um, Basically, my best friend, she wanted me to spend the weekend with her, and I spend the weekend with her and stuff like that. And we have fun. And I know her mother, her father, I know her whole entire family, even my grandma and my sister does. So as I was spending the weekend with her and everything and stuff like that, I end up going home back to my mother the next day. And then my best friend, she wanted me to spend the weekend with her again, so I ended up spending the weekend with her again. This is when I was 12. And once I was spending the weekend with her, me and her was having fun. Uh, we went to one of her family members' birthday parties and stuff like that. And then I ended up going home that day back to my mother. And then my best friend, she wanted me to spend a weekend with her again, so I ended up spending a weekend with her again. And then I wanted to, I was wanted to go home, that next day because it was time for me to go home that next day. So I called my mother, and my mother didn't want me to come home, and I'm like, why? And then I found out my mother didn't want to have nothing to do with me. She didn't want me to come home at all. She didn't want to be. She basically didn't want me in her life no more, and I'm like, wow. So I ended up staying with my dad's sister in Hawthorne, California, at the age of 12. Um, as I was staying with my best friend, I was kind of hurt that my mother didn't want me to come home. And my best friend, her family took care of me like I was their own, you know. And as I was staying with my dad's sister, me and her had a rough relationship. We wasn't like really getting along with each other, and we were, you know, um, my dad's sister, she kind of did some bad things to me, you know, but I really don't want to talk about that. And I don't want to explain that because I don't want to like get emotional. But part of that is as growing up, it was like really, really hard for me, like really. So I ended up not staying with my dad's sister. I didn't want to stay with her no more. So I ended up staying with my mom's sister again at the age of 16. And my mom's sister took care of me. And so after that, I ended up not staying with my mom's sister anymore. I ended up staying somewhere else in LA. Um, so, and then, like back in 2015, my mom's sister, um, she found out she had breast cancer, and then first thing you know, the person took it away. So this is why I'm on here. That's the reason why I want to start my own YouTube channel, and it's about the story of my life and life about me and how I grew up. So thank you.